You were on a video call with your best friend Nancy. You both were anxiously discussing about something. Did you perform the test again? You sighed and nodded, grabbing the pregnancy test stick. You stared at it for a moment and then looked back at Nancy. Positive again. This is the third test you performed within a week. All three came positive. I think it's time you tell this to your husband. Lowered your gaze, contemplating over her words. I don't know, Nancy. I don't know how to tell him. What do you mean you don't know? Just take this stick and show it to him and say I'm pregnant, as simple as that. That's the problem, Nancy. It's not as simple as it seems. What do you mean? She frowned in confusion. You see, we have been married for like 4 months and I'm already pregnant. Isn't it too soon? You hesitantly voiced out your doubts and watched her smacking her head. Why, God, just why? What since I have committed that you blessed me with this dumb as my bestie? You scolded as she looked above at the ceiling, complaining to the Almighty. Can you stop being dramatic and help me out of this mess? I didn't befriend with you to hear you bitch about me all the time. Rolled your eyes when she glared at you through the screen. Oh, so you didn't choose me as your friend but as a therapist. I'm hurt. I'm gonna take revenge on this upcoming little bean of yours. I'm gonna buy princess dresses if it would be a boy and tiny suits if it turns out to be a girl. She exhaled sharply and looked away. Now it was your turn to smack your head. Nancy, please. You whined, falling back on the bed. Fine. Listen, if you think it's too soon, you shouldn't have done the deed in the first place. You opened your mouth to protest, but she narrowed her eyes at you, stunning you into silence. Let me finish. So you and Jimin did the deeds, and now the result is in your womb. Stop overthinking and tell this to Jimin. He's equally responsible for this. In fact, you should be discussing it with him, not me. You frowned. Instead of clearing your doubts, she confused you even more. But what if he's not ready for it? What if he said it's too soon? You lamented, biting your nails in anxiousness. She gaped at you, dumbfounded. Is there any way with which I can take my hand out of the screen and give you a tight slap across your face? Why are you speaking to me like this? You mumbled in low tone. Then how should I speak to you? Did he say it himself by his own mouth? You blinked your eyes and slowly shook your head. Then why are you making assumptions and hurting yourself for nothing? You pouted and turned on your side. What am I supposed to do? I can't stop my thought side. I tend to overthink. Then stop thinking. Don't use your brain. I have enough for both of us. She cracked this joke to make you laugh, but when you didn't react to it, she sighed. Come on, girl, cheer up. There's nothing to worry about. Just tell him you have got a bun in the oven and let him figure out the rest. Don't stress your brain. But no buts. It's decided now. When he comes back home, you'll tell him about that you are pregnant. Got it? You gave a slight nod, still pondering over something. But we don't even love each other. Will it be fine bringing a child in between? She shook her head in helplessness, letting out a loud sigh. Again, sweetheart, you are discussing it with the wrong person. It should be your husband clearing your doubts, not me. Apparently, you and he are starting a family together. Moreover, don't you love him? Because the way you gush about him all the time, you seem to be head over heels for him. Her words rendered you speechless. She wasn't wrong, but there was a lot in your head to focus on one thing. You yourself was a confused mess. I don't know. We decided to take everything slow. You don't know, you are in denial. And slow? She chuckled, darting a teasing smirk at you. The situation says otherwise, though. Nancy. She laughed even more when you snapped at her. Her words had left you wondering about many things at once: the pregnancy, your feelings, and most importantly, him. How would he react to it? He would be happy, right? Come out of your Jimin land. She flicked her fingers, snapping you back to reality. You narrowed your eyes at her when she gave you a mischievous smirk. I think I have cleared your uncertainties to a certain level. The rest are Jimin's part to resolve. Oh god, I need a drink now. Drink? And I thought you quitted drinking a week ago. I did, but you know your anxiety is contagious. I'll be tossing around in curiosity until I get your next response. So a strong drink will help me deal with this. Now, she disconnected the call before you could speak a word. Nancy, you scolded, staring at the blank screen. Tossing the phone aside, you exhaled loudly. The unnecessary thoughts plagued your mind again, but you shrugged them off and went to the kitchen to prepare dinner, the distraction you needed at that moment. You were done preparing dinner and were waiting for Jimin in the living room. A few moments later, you heard the jiggling sound of keys and the front door opened, revealing Jimin. You smiled at him when his eyes fell on you. He beamed back at you, but his smile was weary. He looked tired, his eyes were swollen, and his hair tousled, insinuating the number of times he had recklessly run his hand through them. He removed his shoes and neatly placed them aside before stepping inside. "Let me help you," you whispered, taking his briefcase from him. You placed it aside on the center table and followed him to the kitchen. He poured himself a glass of water and gulped it in one go. You stood there, forgetting with your fingers, the pregnancy test tightly clutched in your palm. You decided it was the time to tell him about this. "Jimin," he hummed, pouring himself another glass of water. Nervousness surged within. Your palms turned clammy as you tried to find the correct words to voice it in front of him. "I want to tell you, can it wait one? I'm just really tired. Let me unwind for some time." He grumbled, staring at you with exhausted eyes. You clutched the stick in your palm and hid it behind your back as you gave him a slight nod. "Okay, dinner, you want to eat now or later?" "Now, please, I'm starving. I even skipped my lunch today." Gave him a small smile and proceeded to set the table. "I'll be back after taking a shower." You nodded and resumed your task. However, you stopped in between when he stepped closer to you. Blinked your eyes looking up at him in confusion. Gave you a small, nervous smile and leaned down to press his lips to your forehead. Heat rose up to your cheeks, tinting them in the bright shade of crimson as his warm lips lingered on his skin a moment longer. It was very rare for him to show affection after coming back from his office because he usually returned exhausted as hell. That one forehead kiss erupted a swarm of butterflies in your stomach. "I'll be right back." He nodded, and with a smile, he turned on his heels and made his way towards your shared bedroom. He continued setting the table, but now with much more enthusiasm. You sighed, a scowl marring your face as you watched him aggressively typing on his laptop. His dinner was turning cold, untouched. He said he was starving. Now look at him sticking to his meddling mistress. Mumbled to yourself, glaring at him. When you said you wanted to tell him something, he wanted to loosen up a bit. Now seeing him walking at the time of dinner ached you in the worst way possible. "Can you stop it and have your dinner in peace?" You snapped, banging your hand on the table. He flinched and looked at you shockingly. You were always so calm and sweet. Your sudden burst out scared him. "I was just... Didn't you hear me? Have your dinner first." He instantly closed his laptop and started eating. He lowered his gaze to his plate and didn't dare to meet your scary eyes. You nodded to yourself and had your dinner. He glanced at you once and whispered to himself, What happened to her? She looks scary. You said something? He quickly shook his head and resumed eating, avoiding your gaze to his fullest. For the first time in the 4 months of marriage, he was intimidated by you. When you stepped inside the room after washing the dishes, Jimin was rummaging through some files, a scowl marring his face. By his expression, you knew he was annoyed, and the most probable reason could be his boss. What's wrong? You asked, stepping closer. He glanced at you once and let out a huge sigh. My boss, he's being a pain in the ass nowadays. Don't tell me you have to work now. You have been doing it for days. You will fall sick like this. Your forehead creased in concern. His expression softened as he looked at you. I know, but I can't do nothing about this. I have to complete these files by morning or else he'll throw me out of the company, as he said. Rolled his eyes, grabbing a few files and his laptop. But I need to tell you something. He nodded as if asking you to speak. You were again at a loss of words. How should you say it? Should you show the stick or just say it directly? Jim and I. Your words halted midway when his phone buzzed loudly. He glanced at the caller ID and rolled his eyes. He picked up the call and talked to his boss for a while. Hanging up, he looked at you apologetically. I need to work on these files immediately. Could you please make me a cup of coffee and also give me a water bottle? I'm going to my study room. You sighed and nodded, walking out of the room along with him. He made his way to the study room while you retired to the kitchen to make him a cup of coffee. As the coffee brewed in the coffee machine, you filled a water bottle for him. Your eyes kept flickering to the white stick with two pink lines on it. You so wanted to tell him about this, but you decided otherwise. You would tell him in the morning and let him work in peace for now. This is complicated, and Nancy said it's simple, only if she knows. You exhaled deeply, pouring the coffee in a mug, and made your way towards the study room after grabbing the water bottle. You placed the water bottle and coffee mug on his desk. You had your gaze stuck on him, but he didn't even glance at you. Sighing in disappointment, turned to leave but halted when you felt a tug on your wrist. Craning your neck, you noticed that Jimin was holding your hand, brought it to his lips and pressed a peck on the back of it. Looking up, his lips cocked into a grateful smile. Thank you. Your lips twisted into a smile at his sweet gesture. Don't stay up too late. Your body needs rest as well. Yeah, good night, good night. You mumbled and walked out of the cabin and walked back to the bedroom. You plopped on the bed and stared at the pristine ceiling. Your hands reached to your belly, caressing it gently. A smile edged across your face as you felt an instant connection to the little life residing there. You had always dreamt of this moment. As a girl who grew up without a mother, you always wanted to be one and have your own little family. The feeling was inexplicable and overwhelming. Your father is such a workaholic now, but he is helpless. He needs to work a lot to keep his job, but sometimes it's too much. You murmured, kissing your belly. But it's not his fault. It's a jerk, boss. We hate him, okay? Chuckled at your childishness. Inhaling a deep breath, you covered yourself with a comforter and turned off the lights. I'll tell him tomorrow that you are here. Let's sleep for now. You mumbled groggily. Your eyes drooped due to exhaustion, and minutes after, you drifted off to sleep. In the middle of the night, your slumber broke. You slowly opened your eyes and looked at the space beside you in the bed. It was empty. Jimin, he's still not back yet. You glanced at the clock, which struck 3 a.m. It's too late. Is he not done yet or fall asleep there? Mumble to yourself, knowing very well about his habit. He would work all through the night and then fall asleep on the desk itself. And the next morning, he would wake up with a strained neck and follow you around, whining how his body pained a lot just to be pampered by you. You smiled at the memory and decided to check upon him. Kicking off the blanket, you rose from the bed and made your way to the study room. You are not done yet, you asked, stepping inside, and noticed him still working on his laptop. He flinched at the sudden interruption and looked at you with red, sleep deprived eyes. Why are you still awake? He brought frowning at you. His voice was low and groggy. I just woke up and decided to check upon you. How long will you take? He sighed, turning back to resume his work. Probably an hour or so, and then I'll be done. You nodded, biting on your lower lip. You turned to leave but stopped again. Do you need something? Coffee or water or anything? Yeah, he paused as his eyes went to the digital clock placed on his desk. He badly needed a coffee, but he didn't want to trouble you in the middle of the night. Besides, he could make it himself. Thus, he smiled and shook his head. No, I'm fine. Go back to sleep. I'll join you shortly after. Are you sure? You asked again because you knew him better. But he again denied, much to your surprise. Shrugging your shoulder at his response, you went back to the bedroom to resume your beauty sleep. Jimin sighed and ran a reckless hand through his already disabled hair. His eyes were burning due to lack of sleep and his head throbbed with pain. I have to have a cup of coffee if I want to sit an hour more and complete this. He grabbed the empty water bottle and the coffee mug and pushed off the chair. Though his body badly wanted to hit the mattress and sleep like a baby, he knew he couldn't afford to rest, not before completing the assigned work, which was required for the morning meeting. He washed the already used cup and placed it aside. He kept the water bottle under the water dispenser and leaned against the counter as it fell to its brim. He was so tired that it was hard for him to stand straight. His body was in pain. Sighing in exhaustion, he grabbed the water bottle and moved to the coffee maker to brew a coffee for himself, but something on the counter caught his eyes. He placed the bottle down and grabbed the small white thing, inspecting it by turning over and over. His mind went numb when realization dawned upon him. His hands froze, eyes widened, and his heart started palpitating when he saw two pink lines on it. She's pregnant? You kept tossing and turning on the bed to find a comfortable position to fall asleep, but nothing worked. No matter how much you tried to shrug off your thoughts, your mind kept wandering back to Jimin and the untold truth. It lay heavy on your chest, making it difficult for you to relax. The uneasiness wouldn't go away, no matter how much you tried. Let out a groan in frustration and sat up on the bed with an irritated sigh. Kicked off the blanket and swung your legs over to the edge of the bed. I'll just go and tell him I can't handle this anymore. You mumbled to yourself as the uneasiness intensified, the knots of anxiety twisting in your stomach. With a renewed determination, you pushed off the bed and was about to walk to the door, but stopped when the doorknob twisted. The door swung open, and there, at the threshold, stood Jimin. It was dark, but you could still see his face reflecting in the moonlight. Jimin, you need something? You asked when he didn't walk in and kept standing there like a mannequin. You frowned at his unusual behavior. Was he possessed? The sole thought gave you a creepy sensation throughout your body. You cowered back in fear. See, Jimin or whoever you are, I'm getting scared now. Speak up. You shrieked in horror and jumped on the bed when he advanced towards you. Your back collided with the headrest, but he kept moving. You took a breath of relief when he turned on the lights. Your body visibly relaxed as your gaze met his. He wasn't possessed, much to your relief. You watched as he took a seat beside you, his expression unreadable. The silence made you worried. What happened, Jimin? He swallowed in nervousness and lifted his trembling fist in front of you. As he unclenched it, your heart skipped a beat when you saw the pregnancy test in his palm. Your throat tightened, mouth went dry, and lips parted in shock when you realized that you left it on the counter earlier. Is this yours? He whispered after a moment of heavy silence. You got and slowly nodded. Are you pregnant? You nodded again, staring down at your hands. You expected a reaction from him, telling you if he was happy or sad, but all you got was silence, an uncomfortable silence. As the silence stretched further, your stomach churned in uneasiness. Jimin, say something, please, you whispered, finally lifting your head to meet his eyes. But he stayed silent. His gaze dropped from your eyes to your belly and finally shifted down to his palm, where the stick with two pink lines was. Your eyes stung with tears when he kept gazing at it without saying a word. Was he not happy? Was your worst nightmare going to come true? Your heart clenched at the thought of him resenting your pregnancy. But then his chin quivered, lips trembled as a long tear rolled down his eyes. Is this really happening? He asked, looking up at you with a small smile as more tears streamed down his face. Your heart finally felt at ease, seeing him smile. It was a sight to behold. Gave a slight note, fighting back your tears. Oh God, I can't believe this. He chuckled through his tears, shifting closer to you. Are you happy? I don't know. It's just unexpected. I'm shocked, but I'm happy. Yes, I am. I don't know how to react to it. This is so overwhelming. More tears rolled down his face. Seeing him cry made you tear up as well. You couldn't hold back any more and the saltiness dripped down your cheeks. He held your hands and pressed his forehead against them. I'm so happy. Thank you so much. You made me the happiest person. He pressed a peck on either of your hands and lifted his gaze to meet your eyes. His smile dropped when he saw tears cascading down your face. Hey, why are you crying? Because you are crying and makes me cry too. He chuckled and wiped his tears before wiping your face. My bad. I was just so over the moon that I didn't know how to react. To cry in happiness or smile in joy or not react at all. He grinned, planting a feather-light kiss on your forehead. But why didn't you tell me earlier? I tried, but you were so busy with your work. He sighed, remembering he cut you off when you tried to talk to him. I'm sorry, He trailed off, shaking his head in disappointment. It's okay. I was about to tell you in the morning. So, I'm going to be a father? I can't believe this. He blabbered, grinning ear to ear. Give a gentle squeeze to his hands. Yes, you are. And you, the mother of my child, whispered to himself. Your cheeks heated up and you looked down, avoiding his gaze. But then, you noticed his expression shifting. Why are you awake till now? It's not good for you and the baby. Come on, lie back down on the bed. You blinked when he made you lay on the bed and covered you with a blanket till your neck. Your heart swelled in happiness seeing him being all protective and bossy. But then, your heart sank when he got up from the bed. You thought he would go back to work. Are you going back to the study room? No, not at all. He responded, rounding the bed and slid in the covers beside you. Wrapped his arm around your waist, pulling your head on his chest. Work and go to hell. I want to be with you for now. He prepped a few kisses on the top of your head, making you smile. What about your boss? That bald monster too. You laughed when he grumbled in annoyance. You knew Jimin didn't like his boss, and he had fair reasons to dislike him. He thinks we are not his employees but his slaves. He always throws orders at us. I hate those people who misuse their power. It's okay, you whispered, rubbing his chest soothingly. No, it's not. Just a week more and then my contract will be over. I'll resign the very next moment. You frowned and looked up at him. You knew Nick Hill disliked his job, but to this extent? Hey, but why do you want to quit? Because I'm tired. It was fine until I was alone, but now with you staying alone, I can't spend day and night working, right? The job is occupying what's supposed to be your time. He was right. There were only a few days when he was with you entirely, otherwise, his boss was third wheeling most of the time. Don't stress about it. I'll handle everything. You just focus on taking care of yourself and our little one. You smiled shyly, burying your face on his chest, but suddenly he jolted up and sat straight. Oh, I almost forgot. Are you craving for something weird like ice cream with sauce, banana with ketchup, or watermelon with mayonnaise, anything like that? You scrunched your nose in disgust and pulled him back to lay beside you. I ain't craving for nothing. I just need you for now. Stay with me. He smiled and breathed you tightly. You sighed, feeling safe and secure in his arms. Jimin, do you love me? He asked after a brief moment of silence. Of course I do, he replied almost instantly, his voice devoid of any hesitation. Really, you do? You asked, staring at him with surprise. You frowned at your odd reaction. What? There's nothing to be surprised about. I thought it was obvious. I don't know. You never said that you love me. Well, I always believe in the theory that action speaks louder than words. I didn't know I had to voice it out to make it obvious. You are right at your place, but how would I know without you telling me? I can't read minds. Mom was still shocked with his unexpected confession. He nodded in acknowledgement. You are right. I'll remember it from now on, my lady. I love you so much. He whispered, tilting your head and pressing it back on your nose tip. You giggled bashfully and hid your face in his chest. You know what? What? I too love you so much.